Yugi Bros! What's up, my Yugi Bros? It's Connor with a tier list. Promised you guys I'd eventually do one of these. I'm sorry it's been a long time coming. We threw every deck on here, and we probably missed a ton more, but let's just go off the top. We got Relinquish, we got Amazon, we got Gravekeeper Burn, or the Burn, whatever, Curse Burn. We got Levia Dragon Water Turbo Daedalus. We got generic search things with Recruiter representing. We got Amazoness Control. We got Blue Eyes. We got Ectoplasmic. We got King of the Skull Servants. Tunes. Order to Charge. Normal Monster BS. Jurassic World stuff. Viral Infection. Tribal. Moby Thick. Because why not? Perfectly Ultimate Insects. Dark Magician Girl stuff. Dark Red Enchanter Spellcaster BS, Red Eyes, we got Heavy Metal Raiders Barrel Dragon representing, we got Gravekeeper's Oracle representing regular Gravekeepers, we got Amazoness Trainee representing Amazoness, we got Blade Control, and we got Serpent Knight Dragon. Okay, I'm definitely sure we missed some, but let's just get started with what we got. We definitely got Tier 1, in my opinion, are wholeheartedly Gravekeepers and Blade Knight Control. I think those are just strictly the best two decks in the game right now. We're going to throw Relinquished. Let's do Tier 2. It doesn't have much recovery these days. It gets popped by a lot of things. We'll throw Dark Magician, random stuff in Tier 3, because, let's be fair, it's not really doing anything huge. Moby Thick, nah, maybe not. We'll do Tribal. Yeah, let's throw Tribal up. Tribal's still good, Tier 1.5, maybe Tier 2, I don't know, we'll come back to it. Tunes, Tier 3, deck is garbage. Yeah, actually, if we're going to compare garbage, let's put Levia Dragon here. Let's move Dark Magician up a little bit. Gravekeeper's Burn. Curse Burn's really good. I'd arguably say it's Tier 1, maybe Tier 1.5, just because Night Beam shuts it out. Dark Red Enchanter can't really get anything going right now, so we're going to throw it in Tier 3. Moby Thick, my boy, Tier 2.5. That's probably not accurate. It probably needs to go down further. Serpent Knight Dragon, Tier 2. This deck's really cool. It's just not... It just doesn't... Yeah, let's move it down a little bit. It's not getting there. It doesn't do enough. So on that note, Moby Thick goes to 3. Well, Serpent Knight did top a lot of events lately. We'll put it at 2. Man, I can't decide right now. I can't decide. All right, this thing deserves Tier 3. This card's terrible, along with the entire deck. I think Insects are better without that card. Ectoplasmic, I throw at Tier 2. It's really cool. You can control the board, and they can't pop your quote-unquote field spell in Ectoplasmic because it's a skill. Amazoness Control, we'll throw at Tier 1.5. Maybe. I don't know. We'll come back to it. We're going to mix a lot of stuff up here. Blue Eyes, Tier 2. This deck is what it's always been, but it has no recovery, and little to no recovery, I should say. So I'll throw it in Tier 2. It kind of sits where Relinquish does these days. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Normal Monster. This deck's pretty cool. It doesn't have a huge amount of recovery. It depends what you got, but it gets there. King of the Skull Servants, this deck's close to just being something, but it's still not. Dinos I'll put solid Tier 2 for sure. It's close, but no cigar. Red Eyes doesn't do trash. Actually, on that note, let's put Moby Thick back, because these two are just not, they're just not too good. No, I'm so preferenced on Moby Thick. Amazoness we'll throw in Tier 2. Viral we'll throw in Tier 3. Metal Raiders... Barrel Dragon, we'll throw in Tier 2.5. Like, I think this is Tier 2, but the problem is, once you pop the field spell, the deck just falls apart completely. I'd throw it higher. I'd love to throw it higher. Actually, on that note, let's put Relinquish up a little bit, Blue Eyes up a little bit. Let's mess around. We'll keep Ecto here. We'll keep the normal monster here. Dinos might be Tier 1.5. Actually, I don't know, maybe we could move it around. Like, I love how my Tier 1 is set, but everything else is like, but you could put it Tier 1.5, or you could put it Tier 2. It's a half-half. It's a half-half. Burn, I give Burn Tier 1.5 for sure. Like, it's close. Like, you could put it at Tier 1, but I just think the other two decks are definitely just better to play. I don't know. It's tough for sure. Yeah, we might throw it back down, actually. What do we got here? These other two pictures can represent, I mean, Amazon can represent other stuff, but we got the Trainee for Amazon. I mean, although Trainee could represent more like Command Knight, Trainee variants, we could actually throw Swordswoman as the Amazon deck representative. We'll throw Serpent Knight down. I don't know, Serpent Knight is probably Tier 2 deserving. So is Machines, actually. It's tough. Water has so much opportunity to be busted, but they don't have enough support. I feel like the rest of these are kind of justified. I mean, Red Eyes might, because you can mix it fusion-wise. I don't know. It's It's hit and miss. You can mix it with Viral, and then it gets a little bit better. Although I'd still say Blue Eyes is better. Serpent Knight's better, for sure. Yeah, I'm going to put Burn back at 1.5. Like, it's almost there. It's just not. If your opponent's good enough to know how to side against it, they just beat it. Tribal, tier 2. I feel like Tribal, Amazoness Control, all this crap is kind of like the same level. Yeah, I'd put Dinos up, actually. 1.5. Dinos is close. Dinos is something I enjoy more than, like, Blade Control. But Blade Control is just strictly better. But yeah, Blue Eyes is about what it's always been. Let's see what we got here. We got, yeah, this deck I'd really love to move up. Like, it's close. I'm loving my Fortress Well. Man, you can't stop Moby Thick. Like, he's coming in hot. He's put him right next to Serpent Knight. Blue Eyes, yeah, Blue Eyes is solid where it's at. Like, this is kind of tough because you can mix around a lot of things here that aren't tier 1. I feel like there's a lot of things that mesh between the lines of tier 1.5 to 2.5. Like, if you look at this and you go off like the Zombina / Amazoness Swordswoman Control, yeah, actually, yeah, tier 2 is more or less correct for that. I think those are better where those are. So this deck's really fun. The problem with the EFR Turbo is just like, if they out it, yeah, it kind of fits with Blue Eyes here. Like, the recovery is a little bit better than Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes got way more offense. I'm gonna throw Dark Magician back down. Serpent Knight probably should go back to tier 2. I mean, it's better than Moby Thick. I'll give it that. King. Dude, Skull Servants have so many different kinds of support cards, but just not enough to ever put them up into the forefront. Like, I love Barrel Dragon too. That deck's gotta go somewhere eventually. It's just, and Blast Sphere is so good, but Blast Sphere gets played in everything. So it honestly doesn't really matter with this deck. It's just a field spell. You pop the field spell and that's it. Like, I guess you could put Amazon, like pure Amazon, a little bit lower than Swordswoman Control or Tribal. Yeah, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. I don't know. Going through it one more time. Let's kind of scour over stuff real quick. Yeah, maybe I'll put Tribal down there in Amazon. I don't know. Yeah, they kind of all go in the same spot. Tier 2. I'd argue tier 2.5 maybe. God, this is tough. This is actually really tough. And I know I'm going to get a lot of crap in the comments for where I'm putting things, whether it be tier 2.5, tier 2, tier 3. There really shouldn't be a tier 2.5 on this list. I should just have a tier 2s and tier 3s. 3s are the decks that, like, have stuff, but not enough support. Like, Toons. Man, Toons. Alright, yeah, let's put whatever generic search card deck that this represents here. And I guess we'll move Swordswoman. We'll have Swordswoman represent Amazons. We'll have Trainee represent, like, the Command Knight Trainee decks, which are a little bit better, I would say. Swordswoman Control is probably on these levels. Tribal might be better than both. I don't know. It's, like I said, these are all toss-ups. Like, every single one of these is a toss-up as tier 2 or tier 2.5. Yeah, that looks more solid, actually. I'm not against that. This looks more complete. Relinquished, yeah, Relinquished actually might deserve tier 2 because the more I think about it, like, the EFR could wreck Relinquished. I don't know if it deserves tier 1.5. Maybe. Serpent Knight, same deal. Blue Eyes can come up. It can be tier 1.5, but it just doesn't have the consistency. Like, once it's out, it's out. So I'd keep it down here, sadly. Serpent Knight Dragon, kind of the same thing. It's all or nothing with that deck. Relinquished, it's kind of all or nothing. It has recovery, but it's also just really slow at this point. There's a lot of faster decks, a lot of decks that can take it out quickly. So yeah, I'd go with this. Maybe we'll move this down a little bit. The more I look at it, Dinos burn at tier 1.5. That fits better actually. I think that's a good list. Relinquish maybe tier 2.5. I don't know. Like, it's really situational. All right, I gotta move my boy down here. He'll be thick. Like, he's good, but he's not that good. Let's be fair. I'm just being impractical here. Man, I can't decide on these. Like, these, man, they're all like the same mishmash of a deck. Just one draws more, one controls Swordswoman more. Trainee is probably the best of all of them. decks with trainee in it, I should say. But yeah, that looks to be about correct. I might make one final change, move Ecto down to 2 or 2.5. Alright, so this is my tier list, guys. I really think tier 1, the best decks are Blade Control and Gravekeepers. I just don't think any decks can utilize the traps any better than these two, because these two have everything else built into their archetype already. Gravekeepers have Call to Haunted and Oracle as a boss to deal with everything, almost everything. And Blade Control basically does what it says it does. It controls the board. It's a warrior beatdown in a nutshell, and you can gain lots of attack. You can swarm the field. Technically, you can build up command knights and stuff. And you have Aerosol as your dark hole, as your 2-time dark hole to deal with any threat imaginable. So I just think those are the best 2 decks. I'd say Blade Control is better than Gravekeepers in my personal opinion, as arguably the best deck. But I'd still say both are tier 1. Tier 1.5, I say Burn, just because Burn does what it does, and it just burns, and it doesn't interact with the opponent. So if the opponent can play around the stuff, or end phase Dice Foon / Dust Tornado / Night Beam the stuff or whatever, then Burn struggles, and it doesn't really have a big comeback. The Dino deck is kind of like Warrior Turbo, but you're playing the dinosaurs instead. You're playing a lot of bouncing effects, piercing effects. It's also very good as well. I just think it doesn't have as much going for it as Blade Control, but it's definitely close. You could arguably put that at tier 2, but I like the deck enough to say it's tier 1.5. It's a good solid option to go into a tournament with. It does struggle a little bit more with back row destruction. If you play back row destruction in the deck, then the deck itself loses consistency, and that's where I have a huge problem with the deck. But still a very good deck to go into your locals with for sure. Blue Eyes is Blue Eyes. It's always been the deck that goes off instantaneously as fast as possible. But if you out its board, it's tough for the deck to recover. Very tough indeed. But it definitely can if you can keep the game going along in your favor. EFR Turbo or Normal Monster Beat, whatever you want to call it, the Heatwave deck is a good deck, good beat stick deck, and can swarm the field with EFR. However, its downside is that it really doesn't have defense to it. If you throw defense in, then the deck suffers from that greatly. You would have to be forced to arguably cut EFR and play more defensive cards, more like Normal Monster Beat sticks. You can get it there. It's just it's tough. It has Order to Charge, which is very strong, and Heatwave, which is very strong, but those are kind of its power cards. Without those, the deck kind of falls apart to just not being able to get rid of big things or prevent big things from happening. Serpent Knight Turbo, this deck's gimmicky as all hell, and the only reason I didn't put it at tier 1.5 is because it has topped a lot of events lately. It can get you there, but it is very gimmicky, very all in. If you have Serpent Knight Dragon, you should win. If you don't, you should lose. It's as simple as that. I put trainee / command knight decks in the spot as well. It's very good. It's a very well rounded deck. It kind of like Blade Control. Arguably could put it at a tier 1.5 actually, but it's just like a weaker Blade Control. To be fair, then you got Harpy, Amazon, so tribal synergy deck. It's good still too, but it's just fallen out of favor, and the other decks have more options as of now. I put Swordswoman as the representative of regular Amazoness decks. It's kind of the same bill, a little bit different strategy. Tribal draws faster, obviously, but has less defense. Amazons can back it up with the defense because they don't have the Harpies in the deck. Tier 2.5, I could arguably put Relinquish back up to tier 2, because thinking about it, Relinquish is better than Blue Eyes. I just think going into the format, what we got right now, Relinquish can't deal with a lot of the decks up in the 2s, the 1s ranges that Blue Eyes can actually handle a bit better. But like I said, again, they're kind of mishmash. Believe me, I'm a Relinquish fan for life. I took that crap to Nats and won all my events that I played, so I definitely love the deck, and I'm representing. Yeah, you could arguably put that back at tier 2. That's probably one of the only changes I'd make to this finalized list. Barrel Dragon represent Machines. Dude, Machines is so good, but the problem is when you pop the field spell, the deck falls apart instantly. And that's my main gripe with it. It's such a good deck that if it can protect its field spell, or if the skill counted as outside of the game like Ectoplasmic Fortification does, this deck would be a force to be reckoned with. But unfortunately, because that's not the case, it kind of just falls short to everything. So that's why I have it at tier 2.5. Skull Servant decks forever, to me, will just not hit the spotlight until they get something that just represents and puts them up there. There's too many outs to King now, and because of that, the deck suffers greatly, and that's kind of just its one-trick pony. Is you summon King and Skull Servants and you try to beat face with it. It's like a Grand Maju deck. You get it really strong, but if they out it in any way or shape or form, you don't really have a way to come back. Grand Maju has more ways to come back, so I don't want to get into regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Speed here. Ectoplasmic, it's kind of a similar thing. You don't play Protect the Castle around one monster per se. You play it around all your zombies, but it does take the deck a little bit to get going. And if you don't have like the Pyramid of Wonders and stuff early, it just suffers again as well. You do have Zombina to try to reborn something late game, but like again, you're tanking double damage, especially if you go against like a Swordswoman, you're just losing really quickly. Amazoness control, like Swordswoman control, you could arguably throw back at tier 2, or you could put all of those tier 2 options down at tier 3 outside of the trainee Command Knight deck. But again, I just think it's not, just quite not, it falls out of favor. And then tier 3, as I've said before, Tunes has been a failed experiment since the beginning. Water is a failed experiment since the beginning. Levia takes too many things to put it on the field. Give us a Legendary Ocean Konami, please. Dark Red Enchanter has a lot of cool options, but the deck is very slow. It can wall forever, but that's really it. Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth is a one-trick pony. Once you kill it, that's the game. Red Eyes Black Dragon decks are cool. Viral Infection makes them interesting, but I don't think I'll ever see competitive play, at least not for a little bit more. Same goes for Dark Magician / Dark Magician Girl options. That's why I put them both in the same art here with that new card that they're in. Viral Infection, same deal. Gravekeeper's Recruiter here just represents random search decks. I don't know. It represents the rest of the tier 3 decks that I have otherwise forgotten. And Fortress Whaleman, man, Moby Thick. As much as I would love to say Moby Thick is good, sadly, it's just not competitive enough to be a mainstream deck. But guys, those are just my opinions. What do you think in the comments down below? Please let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. I understand, before I end this video, I understand that not all of these are 100% accurate. I know a lot of people will have gripes with it, as they did with my first tier video. So I'm going to preface this now and say this is just my opinion. I understand everyone has their own opinion. There are multiple different types of opinions in this game for what decks are what. But this is just September, October, and hey, anything can change. So I'm Yugi Bros, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.